is Meet the Movie Press. It is April the 19th, 2019. Buenos dias, muchachos.
Buenos
dias, muchachos. I thought I'd do that because obviously the big film of the week is a representation of a well-known Latinx folklore. We're going to be talking about that, The Curse of La Llorona, later on. Surprisingly, I liked it. We'll talk about that later on. Guys, who are you? Where are you from? Where can we find you? Dimitri, welcome back. First of all, you please.
It's great to be back, and yes, you can find me here on the fabulous Meet the Movie Press. I've missed you guys.
We've missed you. You've been away for 2 weeks.
Sure, it feels like longer, but it's been great. It's great to be back. So yes, you can find me here at Meet the Movie Press. Also, Anatomy of the Movie at some point. It's just on hiatus.
Fine.
I could also say that now I am part of the Los Angeles Online Film Critics Society.
I was about to say that. Congratulations.
Thank you. So congratulations. Thank you. So, it's an honor. My knee-jerk reaction is to always go with Groucho Marx. I will be part of no organization that would have me as a member. But I put that aside and I said, okay, thank you very much. This is an honor.
And Scott Menzel.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'm good. My friend.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the other Scott M. LAOSCS, his favorite show, is back today, 11 a.m.
It's a kick-ass Scrabble score.
Yep.
Doesn't make sense, but it's a kick-ass Scrabble score. And in case you're wondering who the fuck I am, my name is Simon Thompson. You can find me at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter. Always appreciate you guys getting involved in the show. Without you guys, there is no show, so thank you so much. If you're already in the chat room, a lot of people already taking part this morning, and of course the chat is a big part of the live show. If you listen to the show after we've done it live, it really is great if you can ever make the chance to take part in it live, because we really do appreciate that interaction. Without you guys, there's no point in us doing this.
Can I say something to you? You moderate the chat fantastically.
Thank you.
And above and beyond other podcasts that try to do it, we can all learn from you, because you really do a great job of inclusivity with everybody. So,
now that means I've got to read everybody's things.
He's just so professional, isn't he? That's really, Simon Thompson.
Yeah, well,
Simon Thompson.
No good deed.
That's fine. Let's get to these people that are waiting. Thank you. I appreciate it. Star Drew. Hey, D Movies. Happy Good Friday, everybody. Glad to see Carl Weathers in Star Wars Project these days. Rocky. Fishman Dildo. There's an emoji there. Good to have you in, Fishman Dildo. Senior Nerd. John Cena and The Rock are both in the same universe, not WWE. The Poop Shoot Productions Old Republic movie. Just shouting things doesn't make them happen. Dimitri is in there. Hello, Dimitri. Pay attention to the show. Star Drew, why does everyone, John Cena as King Shark now? I don't know. A lot of people in the chat also saying hello to Scott Boswell, who's in there this morning. Xeno Hour. Good Friday to you. Lots of people in there as well. Senior Nerd. Obi-Wan vanished in A New Hope. Yoda vanished in Return of the Jedi. Luke is dead. Deal with it. That's a happy start to the show. Let's talk about Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, because obviously, as we were ending the show last week at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, where you were, Dimitri,
yes.
That was where the trailer dropped, like 2 minutes before the end of the show. We gave our live reactions at the end of the show. There was Scott, myself, and Kit. Genuinely a trailer that gave me goosebumps. But Dimitri, first of all, what was it like being in that room with everybody watching it at the same time?
Incredible.
Yeah.
It really was. The entire panel was fantastic, and there was a little bit of a spoiler, but it was amazing when they trotted out Lando Calrissian and Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my God, there was just... I tweeted about this. There was this moment of Star Wars clarity that you go, oh, of course he should be in this. It made total sense. The crowd erupted. And then they debuted the trailer, and Lando's in the trailer, and it was amazing. I'm not sure if you were able to see this happen, because I don't know when they cut off the live feed, but when the trailer faded into dark, it went into black, all the lights went down. And then the lights on the stage, like a minute or so after, came back up, and Ian McDiarmid was on the stage. Wow. And this is after the Palpatine laugh, right, at the end of the trailer. And he's on stage, everybody's going nuts, and he, in his Palpatine voice, goes, "Roll it." again. And then the crowd erupts and they played the trailer again for everybody. And it was just one of those moments where, like yourself, I got very emotional about that trailer.
Yeah.
And I think the trailer nailed it. And I was Disney doesn't have to release another trailer.
No,
like
no, they do
they
not.
should just sparingly use this one through December. They'll probably make one more, but they can just get by using this.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, I've already watched it like a dozen times.
This has totally sold me on the movie already. I'm 100% on board with this. I mean, and we said on the show last week that it's the first time that I've seen a Star Wars universe trailer since The Force Awakens that genuinely gave me the goosebumps. I was really impressed with Solo. I was very excited with Rogue One, but this genuinely it gave me that feel again.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, and this is coming from someone I've said this many times on the show that I'm kind of like over this universe. This was the trailer that actually sold me. You know, I my initial reaction to it was like, okay, and then I went back and I watched it again, and I'm like, you know what? I have hope for this now.
Well, I think we're at a really interesting point in this Star Wars universe where we have obviously the people like us who were around when the original movies came out. We experienced the excitement around, you know, perhaps Star Wars, but certainly Empire, and then certainly Jedi. We lived through the prequels. That was our own little war zone. And then obviously we've got these movies, but we have two generations now. One that are building up on the prequels, which were their Star Wars movies, and we're getting people that are the really younger end of the market who are the ones that have been following the new Star Wars movies and exploring the other two. So I think we're at a really exciting, very, very emotional, very powerful point within this universe where it really has reached maximum saturation of people appreciating their Star Wars, these stories coming together, these sagas coming together and really culminating. And I think it's and obviously we have the spin-offs as well, which have got their own audiences, which we didn't have previously. Right. And I think it really is, it's peak Star Wars, people. Right. Peak Star Wars when it comes to that emotional attachment.
And this one, too, because people know that this is the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
This is that 9-episode arc that Lucas had envisioned way back when. So there's going to be that nostalgia factor as well that'll get everybody going. But this trailer had everything that you had hoped. It really delivered, and it was very impactful.
And also, there was a story this week saying that, in fact, the movies that Ryan's going to be working on, the next set of films are going to be going in a different. They're not going to see like continued characters. They're going to be a new part of this universe. I think that's a really good decision because I think we've reached saturation now, where we're saying goodbye to characters like Luke, Leia. We said goodbye to Solo. Spoiler alert! If you're about 4 years behind. But it, and I think we really have to carve out and utilize. And again, we said on the show last week, so many of these characters from other parts of this canon, greater Star Wars universe that we now get to explore. We're going to very, very respectfully lay this chapter to rest, and then we're going to start something new. And I'm really excited for that. A lot of people in the chat talking about this. John Harrison saying, "I'm actually looking forward to Rise of Skywalker, but Mandalorian looks so cool indeed, genuine." I was not too excited about that, but from the buzz that came out last week, I'm very excited. Senor Nerd, Obi-Wan vanished in... Oh, I've already read that one. Let's have a look. John Harrison saying, "I'm looking forward to the evil good force ghosts." Fishman Dildo, "Luke will be resurrected like Jesus." Very poignant this weekend, as we call it the zombie holiday. Eon001, unpopular opinion, but the Fallen Order game trailer got me more hyped than Rise of Skywalker. Ashley Menzel in the chat. Good morning, Ashley. I thought this was done. No. Oh, no. Mickey the Money Cow. Eon001, not hating on the film, I'm just quite into gaming. No, absolutely. And I think that's one thing. I mean, sometimes I wonder if the Star Wars universe is too big, but everybody gets to find their little Star Wars corner, and I think that's really, really cool.
And I can comment on that.
Yep.
Fallen, that was a great trailer, and I think it was bringing back, look, I will buy that game. And it's a single player game,
Yeah.
which is rare today. And this one watching this, it kind of reminded me of Force Unleashed,
Yeah.
which was a really great Star Wars game. So I agree with him that was a great trailer for that, but the movie trailer to me.
Xeno Hour saying Star Wars Episode 9, rise of baseless speculation and ridiculous fan theories.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that dropped,
Oh my
everybody
God, yeah.
had a theory or a think piece, which is, fine. It's great to have this interest, but it's kind of like, okay, sometimes we spoil these things for ourselves.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think, it would be great if we just maybe didn't do that so much. MK Songbird saying someone on Twitter gets back in 2012 that episode 7 was going to be titled, episode 9 was going to be titled The Rise of Skywalker. Oh, it was episode 7, was going to be titled The Rise of Skywalker with the Emperor returning. Only a couple of episodes off. Yeah, absolutely. I saw that. I was very, very impressed this week. And John Harrison saying J.J. Abrams really is a mixed bag as a director for me. While I do not like MI3 Super 8 Star Wars TWAS, but Star Trek is a great film. I hope he brings those qualities to episode 8. This to me from the trailer does look like JJ Nailbrahms because he's nailed it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then somebody did something. It was great, and it's so obvious that it's right in front of you. The opening scenes of the new trailer, just think of the plane scene of North by Northwest.
Yeah,
it's almost identical.
Yeah.
Regarding speculation, I'm not going to do it outside of the privacy of maybe my own friends around my fire pit having a cigar scotch because it's fun conversation, but I'm not going to do it on Twitter either here. I want the movie to just wash over me knowing so little about it as possible.
Yeah.
I will watch a theatrical trailer. I don't want to see behind the scenes footage until after I've seen this movie. This is the way a movie should be seen.
Scott, any more thoughts on this?
No, I mean, I'm really, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm actually really excited for this movie. No, I can't. I've been against it ever since Rogue One. But after this, I'm really looking forward to how they close this.
Yeah.
And I think J.J. Abrams is really a skillful director. And I think he knows, if not for nothing, I know some people have mixed feelings on The Force Awakens. Even though I think that movie's okay, I think he knew exactly what to give the diehard fans with that movie.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think he's the right person to close out this new trilogy.
Great. We're going to leave it there. I'm just going to refresh everybody. Dimitri, where can we find you on social media, please?
At DMovies1701.
Scott, where can we find you?
The other Scott M.
And you can find me at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to also like the show on Twitter, you can find us at Meet Movie Press. We really appreciate it. Coming up later on the show, we're going to be talking about this week's big releases, The Curse of Llorona and the documentary Hail Satan. And also we're going to hear a story about that time that one of these people sent drinks to a director and an actor at CinemaCon. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. Okay, Avengers Endgame spoilers. Oh, they leaked. Here we go. And the Russo brothers want you to avoid them. Why would you look at a spoiler? Why would you actively do this?
The better question is, one of my friends brought this up, so I will give him credit for it. Fred Topal. He was mentioning on his Facebook 2 days ago, so glad they wouldn't screen us the movie because the junket was last week, but yet there's already spoilers out 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
Has it been ascertained as to how that happened? I mean,
there was a premiere already. I forgot
there
where
was
it was.
Fan event. There have been a couple of fan events.
Yeah.
There have been.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's nice.
Yeah.
So the fans.
I believe that in London they screened the same footage that they screened here in LA, which was a behind-the-scenes featurette and one scene. I believe that's what they also...
It was 2 scenes.
2 scenes?
Yes.
And a behind-the-scenes featurette.
Yes.
And I believe that was what they screened in London, the same they screened here. But there have been fan events or fan premieres in Asia, I believe. And so that might have been where this has come out of. But I mean, I've deliberately been avoiding these because I don't... It's like reading the last pages of a book. Why would you do that? And if you consider yourself a true fan, you would not do that. You will wait. And you will go and see the movie. Why would you do? I don't understand why you would do that.
It goes by. Number one, why would you post it? Do you really need to wear that red cape? Like, do you like? Is that what it's about?
I think we're living in a time where someone has to be first.
Right.
First,
yes.
First.
Gotta wear the red cape.
And I'm like, oh my god.
And it's just. again, going back to
Yeah.
I want to know as little about the movie as I possibly can
Yeah.
in
I
this
agree.
social media
I agree.
world,
Yeah, I agree.
so that I can enjoy it for what it is, not what I think it should be. And after watching Captain Marvel, which intensified my excitement to going into Endgame,
Yeah.
I just want the movie to wash over me and watch it.
John Harrison in the chat saying, I'm not going to lie, I watched the 5-minute leak. I honestly don't understand why you would do that. I honestly have no idea. To me, I think it's also, you spoil your own experience. You genuinely do. I don't think you benefit anything from it. If anything, it could potentially ruin the rest of the movie. It's like we don't tell jokes by giving you the punchline first of all, and then they tell you the joke.
Or you tell the main part of the joke and tell a completely different punchline. Because a lot of even like the Star Wars trailer, a lot of that footage is taken out of context, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what footage was shown, and I don't know in which context to a 3-hour movie it is either.
Well, just so you know, that there's the premiere in Los Angeles on Monday night. It's going to be a seriously huge event, one of the biggest film events of the year here in LA for a movie premiere. And what happens with these premieres is when you go in, if you have a cell phone, they put it in like a security scrotum, like a little sack. They put it in and they seal it up and no one can open it for the entirety of the movie. And then when you leave the movie and you're leaving or you're going to the party, they unlock this pocket and you take your phone out and then you do whatever. That's to stop people like us taking pictures, being a wise ass, trying to spoil anything, or Mark Ruffalo accidentally broadcasting a chunk of the movie from a phone near his ass. So they do that. And again, when I see this on film on Tuesday, I know when I'm on the Disney lot, as I go into that main theatre, I'm going to get the security scrotum. My phone's going to go into it. They're going to lock it. And that phone's going to be out of my hands and inaccessible for the entirety of the movie until I leave that movie theatre for the 12th post-credit sequence. And they'll unlock it and they'll give me my phone back. And we're professionals. Why don't they do that for these other screenings? I don't understand
It's very
it.
confusing.
Because if anything, you can trust us, and if in our community, if anybody does that, you're out of it. It's the circle of trust. You deserve to be booted out,
Right.
Because nobody likes a wise ass.
No.
So that needs to stop. But then to have fan events or screen it for people outside of that, where you don't take phones off people, it seems like a kind of an odd decision.
Especially in a community that's global, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you pay attention to the MPAA, where you don't want stuff pirated.
Yeah.
Globally. So I don't understand.
It's like telling kids there's no Santa. It's weird. Let's see what people in the chat are saying about this. A lot of people have thoughts on it.
No Santa?
No Santa.
Okay, CNBC reported that the footage leak came from someone who had clearance to view the footage, MK Songbird. If that is the case, then they need to seriously investigate who that was. John Harrison, the leak definitely didn't ruin the movie, just got me more excited. It's a 3-hour, 5-minute leak. It's a 3-hour, 5-minute movie. The leak is barely enough. Goldman Vision saying, discipline? ? It's a movie about a purple alien that snaps his finger. Yeah, but still, you don't want it spoiled. Eon001, certain people love spoilers. Fair enough. But if you don't want spoilers, but you watch the clip anyway, then something is wrong with you. I agree with that. Jenna James, so MK, a Marvel employee or fired employee, that's salty. That's a claim coming from Jenna James. We don't know who it was. Star Drew, I am just saw that people want to watch this movie without paying for a ticket to help for this movie. I am just saw that people want to watch this movie without paying for a ticket. The rest of that sentence doesn't quite make sense. I don't understand that. John Harrison, I am a weasel. I couldn't resist watching it, Simon. It got taken down immediately, though. Yeah, and quite rightly it should. It shouldn't be out there. At the end of the day, I mean, this movie is going to make over $1 billion. I predict that it's going to make $1 billion within its first 10 days, quite easily. But perhaps the first 7 days.
The budget's $500 million.
The budget is $500 million. That's an insane amount of money. But it's still going to make a huge amount of money on profit.
Of course.
But I don't think that some will go, well, it's going to make a huge amount of money. It doesn't matter if I pirate it or I do whatever, because there will be some people who will pirate this movie.
Sure, absolutely.
But
happen.
it still hurts. And it's and if you consider yourself a fan, I think it's really disrespectful to do that. Go. I know it's not cheap to go to the movie theater, but you won't get the
This is
same
an
experience.
experience. Yeah,
you
it's an
won't get the
experience.
same experience.
No, you will not.
So, yeah.
And you know, and I guess an argument can also be made too that Marvel spoiled the movie when Sony released its, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Zeno, I was saying, I accidentally saw the spoilers the other day. Thankfully, they seem to be just out of context moments than major plot points. I guess I tolerate posting on Reddit, but don't share it. You see, we shouldn't tolerate this. We should report stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just don't, because people can stumble across this stuff accidentally. We all have something that we care about that we don't want spoiled.
right.
You know, it can be Game of Thrones, or it can be Avengers, or it can be Star Wars or something, and I just don't think it's not healthy.
It used to be so exciting to be waiting in line for a movie when
Yeah.
you didn't know
Oh,
how
I remember
Empire
those
Strikes
days.
Back was going to end. So, and again, I get social media, I get the YouTube and everything, but I think it's the responsibility of the fan
Yeah.
to either just don't watch it.
Do you
Don't
remember
give
the good
credence.
old days when there was one trailer?
Yeah.
It was great. Like where I actually went into a movie and I was really excited about it because I didn't have 17 clips leading up to it and
Yeah.
25 TV
Yeah, that's
spots
all
and
you had.
everything. Yeah, I just...
I've always been in that trailer world, even when I was at Universal back in the 90s working on Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That's all we had. And the excitement built on Jurassic Park was so huge that even comic strips like Calvin and Hobbes were writing about, I can't wait to see Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Because all you had were those trailers.
You would go and see movies because it had a certain trailer in front of it.
Yes.
I remember
Yes.
that.
I
Yeah.
remember that too.
You know,
Absolutely.
and you would want to, you'd then go to school and you'd want to tell everybody, oh my God, I saw the trailer for blah,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah in front of me,
Yeah.
and it's great. So, in fact, it was blah, 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 blah 1, that then became a blah, 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 blah and Furious
yeah,
franchise.
but Me was pretty good.
It was okay, it was fun. I waited for it to come
I
out on
prefer
home
blah,
video.
blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but blee, me, it's still, it's got its good points. Scott, I'm only for J.J. Abrams, me, remake. Scott Boswell, I don't mind other people watching spoilers, but I hate it when some people post spoilers in wide open spaces. And this is what happens with social media. This is what happens. We now have wider, more opener spaces than we've ever had before, and I just think it kind of sucks. Okay, let's move on to something else. John Cena is in talks to suit up for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I gotta be honest with you. I think in beef actor ratings, I've got The Rock, and then I've got Dave Bautista and John Cena, kind of level. Because when John is good, John is great.
Yeah.
When he's not, he's really hammy. And Dave Bautista is just fucking adorable. I love Dave Bautista. I really liked John in Bumblebee.
Yeah.
A little bit hammy, but I really liked him. And I've liked him in a couple of other things he's done. I think he's going to be a nice addition to Suicide Squad. I think he could potentially be a nice dramatic, but also mildly comedic foil to the others. What do you think, Scott?
I'm gonna be the negative Nancy on this one. I don't get the appeal. I really don't.
Interesting.
I don't. Seeing him in Blockers, Bumblebee, I just feel like he's playing a very exaggerated version of himself whenever I see him on screen. It doesn't feel as natural as Dwayne Johnson or even Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's trying too hard. There was what was that Fireman movie he came out for at CinemaCon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's just him being him, and it's a little bit more exaggerated. And the only thing I would say is that it'll be interesting to see him in a movie like this, because I think he would actually have to be toned down instead of toned up.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually very much appreciated him in Blockers. That's actually when I started to pay
I loved him in
attention.
Blockers.
I thought
I
he
loved
was
him in
very
Blockers.
funny, and he showed that comedic side. I enjoyed him in Bumblebee. I think for Suicide Squad, he's fine. I think he's, for whatever role, has it been said what role he's going to be, or have they figured this out?
I mean, there's been speculation.
Yeah,
and there's
so
been various people saying various things.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally enjoy him because he does have that charisma. Even when he comes out on stage, people like him. Whether
Because
it's
he
from
has the
wrestling.
wrestler. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
So it's like when Dwayne Johnson walked into a room, it's like it's that same energy. And I think what it is that there's been so many actors like that now
Yeah.
that after a while I just kind of feel like this is old at this point.
But you kind of need it too in this day and age for these particular movies. Like The Rock would come out. The Rock always has gone to CinemaCon, like forever now, right? Some movies.
But if The Rock's in it, it becomes a rock movie.
Yeah, but
not an ensemble piece.
Yeah, but some of the movies have not been good. But he's still there to promote them, and this is what I'm saying. You don't get where The Rock succeeds is in his promotion of the movie. Even like a Baywatch movie, he will promote it. I
sure will.
Well, yeah, but I appreciate
whether you like it or not.
But exactly. But I appreciate that.
Yeah.
When an actor or talent does that. So I don't fault them for doing it, and I've enjoyed seeing John Cena lately in movies. So I think for Suicide Squad.
Is it just me, or is John getting roles that Channing Tatum would have got 2 years ago?
Yes.
What's happened to Channing Tatum? Because it was Channing. If you wanted someone, well, but
he did that Kingsman sequel.
Yeah,
that's what he did. Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, Channing. This would be stuff that was like
that one too.
This was like Channing takeout. He'd be like lining, eating his nom 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 nom. He'd be eating his. I do nom 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 just as there's a pair of pants on the screen. He would. Seriously, he would be lined. These would be like boom, 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 lined up.
Oh, I know.
See,
boom, 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 boom.
I have a different theory. I think he's taking the roles that now we know what The Rock is saying no to. And he's taking those. Yeah. Because I've always wanted to know. I don't want to know what The Rock's doing next. I want to know what he says no to.
Yeah.
So these could be the roles.
Well,
Yeah.
Channing will take them. But yeah, I'm just surprised. Hollywood seems to have forgotten about Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
And I again, when you're talking about people who come out on stage and will promote movies and are very charismatic, if you take John and you compare Channing, I think Channing has more charm and charisma than John. John's got the buffness, and I think he can do some pretty sweet ass kicking.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of like, when I was thinking about someone, where's Channing Tatum?
Maybe he's on sabbatical.
She's the man too. She's the man too.
Yeah, he's hoping. People talking about this again. They're still talking about the Avengers spoilers. Zeno Hours Simon, what movie show are you looking for? But looking forward to, but got spoiled for you. There were quite a few actually over the last couple of years. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. It's not like I've avoided the zeitgeist. I've just never got around to watching Game of Thrones. So I'm avoiding everything to do with that. One of them was Dexter a couple of years ago, The Wire. I remember getting spoiled for me. That was unfortunate.
Sopranos.
Walking Dead was one that I'm really sick of spoilers and reveals for The Walking Dead. I just want to watch the damn show. Part of the joy is the shock of these things, and we don't have that anymore. John Harrison saying, I don't even remember watching the trailer for The Dark Knight, Scott Menzel. Goldman Vision saying, if Empire Strikes Back was spoiled, people would be in denial and still need to see it. Spoilers don't make people not see the film. No, I don't think it doesn't make people not see. I don't think it makes them not see the film. I think it just spoils when you go in there and it's jaw on the floor, fuck me moments that you're like, oh my God, and some of these things are, they might seem disjointed or completely inconsequential, but you get in there and it ruins it. It'd be like going like, oh yeah, do you like The Sixth Sense? I like the bit when he found out he could see dead people.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure of that person who wrote that, if he was around when Empire Strikes Back came out. But if you had been waiting in a long line and somebody came out and said, Luke is, Darth Vader's Luke's father, that person would have been punched in the face.
Yeah.
Because people were waiting to get in there. Again, this is at a time when the word blockbuster was true because you were waiting in line because shows were sold out.
Yeah.
And if somebody came out and spoiled that person would have had his ass kicked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Goldman Vision John Cena equals King Shark. That is the character that's being thrown around at the moment. Baby Shark, do 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 do. King Shark, do 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 do. I'm looking forward to the dance. John Harrison, I don't get the appeal of John Cena either. He's always trying too hard. I think that's fair. But he's also, I think, he's trying too hard because he's trying to prove himself as box office worthy. John Harrison, Roman Reigns in the Hobbs and Shaw trailer looks better than anything Cena has been in.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Scott can't see the appeal in John Cena because he can't see him. Oh, I don't understand that.
That's from Bumblebee, remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
great. I did.
I was chuckling like a twat
Yeah.
all the way through that.
Haley's so
Fishman
great.
Dildo, Gunn is a master at bringing out the best in his actors, and I'm confident that he will bring out the best in John Cena in Suicide Squad 2. Do you know what? I think he's actually, that's a really good point, Fishman Dildo. Things you never thought you'd say. Great point, Fishman Dildo. Because there are so many actors, like Dave Bautista again is a really good example of this. But when Dave is great and giving really good direction, he can really, like Blade Runner 2049 is a great performance, a small performance. He's great in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and in other movies, it's sufficient for him purely to be Beefcake. Chris Pratt, for me, I think can be very patchy. He can be pantomimey Chris Pratt, or he can actually be really good. And I think when Chris has a really strong director, he delivers something really good. I think Downey Jr. is another example of someone who can be really good when he's reined in and when he's refined and he's given, proper structure. And then other times he can be fine or a little bit kind of, around the edges. Well, what do you guys think?
I mean, I think Robert Downey Jr. again. He plays himself as Iron Man. I mean, it's very. I think everyone has said this at this point. I actually love his earlier work when he was doing like smaller independent films.
Yeah.
There was the one he did with Anton Yelchin, which I loved. I can't remember the name of it. But
He was great in
Charlie,
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Charlie Bartlett?
Yes,
Oh, is
that's
that
it.
it?
Yeah. Yes, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I mean, I think he has.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang's
he has a
amazing.
really good. He's very charismatic too.
Yeah.
But with Iron Man, he plays this, basically a version of himself. But I think he's a different story because I think he kind of, after his whole rehab thing, I think his acting has been based on whether he really wanted to do the role. Don't you feel that way?
I do. Well, he went through, it was that Rise of the Phoenix kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
And he became a different person.
Right.
Completely. So I think his acting and Iron Man bringing him back into the fold. He did that movie with Robert Duvall that Robert Downey Jr. and his wife produced. The Judge. Was it called The Judge?
Yeah, The Judge.
Yeah, The Judge. I mean, not a great movie, but again, different from Iron Man, and you could see he is a talented person. Don't forget Chaplin.
Yes.
Yeah. See, when he's great, he's really, really great. Seriously,
yeah.
I'm a Downey fan. I'm a Downey with that. Senior Nerd, we're just in the chat, and we're going to take a break in just a second. Senior Nerd, I legit missed Channing Tatum. John Harrison. Channing Tatum would have been hilarious in Blockers. I think he would have been.
Yes.
Jenna James, after that divorce. But I think actually Cena was really good in that because he was so awkward dad. I think he does that kind of like sort of nerdy, body of a god in a nerd thing really, really well. Ashley Manzano, what do you guys think John Cena, who do you think John Cena is going to be playing in Suicide Squad? People have talked about King Shark. Someone else mentioned, obviously there's the polka dot character, and there's another one as well, which has been rumoured. But we'll see. I mean, he hasn't signed yet. He's just talking currently. Ashley Manzel in the chat. The other thing with putting out too much content, this is going back to content spoilers and trailers. The other thing with putting out too much content, spoilers, etc., is the film loses its punch a lot of the time, which is also a reason why there is a greater divide between critics and audiences. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. That's a development on the point that we made earlier. Ashley, really great point there. And people asking, Ashley, are you related to Scott? Yes, Ashley is Scott's wife, not sister, as someone else asked. Ashley and Scott are married. Janet James, Happy Tatum didn't get Gambit. He would have been better for a role in Hush for DC or Vulcan or Hyperion for Marvel. Yeah, I mean maybe in the next incarnation of the Marvel universe, as some characters pass out, maybe that's what we're saving Channing for. I mean, Tatum or leave it. Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Zeno Hour. Justin Kroll said it looks like Cena will be playing Peacemaker. As Dave Bautista had to pass. Interesting. So we don't know is basically lots of people suggesting
Disney
things.
said no.
But we'll see. No, I do not want to do your movie.
We got you.
Anything else in the chat that I just want to cover off at the moment? John Harrison saying, I think Robert Downey Jr. is purely doing it for the money right now. I think there's possibly an element of that. Paycheck. And he also started, so he wants to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been Marvel movies over the last couple of years that were meant to be quite different because Robert wasn't going to be involved at that stage, and then they reapproached him, and he was like, "I want to do it." So they rewrote fundamentally a huge amount of the movie in order to get Robert in and the Iron Man character. So so I think there's an element of, there's Plan A and there's Plan D.
Yeah,
Downey
I think
Jr.
there's an element of, I owe a debt of thanks to Iron Man and to the Marvel Universe, and I'm not going to turn my back on them.
No.
And, which I think is very commendable in this day and age. And as far as him doing it for the money, I mean, he's getting paid, but good God, at this point, how much more money does he need?
Yeah.
So I really think that in part he could have said
Another yacht.
But he could have said no a lot.
I mean, but
he could have tapped out after Iron Man 3.
Like you were saying, I mean, in all fairness, the original Iron Man movie, I mean, I think I've started to get a little annoyed by the character because I feel like the character doesn't grow that much. But I will go on record and say that first Iron Man movie is still to this day
It's a great
incredible.
movie. It's a great movie.
It really, to be the first film in this universe, it still holds up as one of the 10 best.
No, I 100% agree. I'm going to take one more comment from the chat, and then we're gonna switch tack. I love this comment from Goldman Vision. Dave Bautista can play the pickled ginger in my sushi lunch. He's incredible. Is that a euphemism? I don't know. Yo, you could be the pickled ginger in my sushi lunch.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a euphemism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pickled.
You want to pickle my ginger, right? My sushi lunch? What? Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully
Cool.
it's not
Anyway, moving
imitation
on
crab.
from that. But, okay, we're gonna switch tack. We've got a lot to cover before we get to the show, so I want you to keep this story short. But first of all, Dimitri, remind us where we can find you on social media.
At DMovies1701.
Fantastic. Scott, where can we find you?
The other Scott M.
Fantastic. You can find me at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter. Okay, now you were at CinemaCon recently.
It was great.
You went out for, I'm going to truncate the story, but I want you to tell the really sexy bit.
Yeah.
So you guys met up in CinemaCon. You went out for dinner. Sorry I couldn't make it, but I wasn't invited.
You didn't have to be.
I wasn't. No, it's fine. I was working. It's fine. I wasn't there.
I invited myself.
It's totally fine. Don't
You
worry.
did, actually.
Well, you're not the only one that invited themselves along that night. Let's talk about this. Okay. So you guys are looking for a place to go for dinner. You get to Nobu, right?
Right.
And you want to have a nice quiet room, have some drinks, have some good times, have some chat. Okay. So you guys go into this special area of the bar. And you see
This
somebody.
was actually after dinner. We went to a cigar lounge, the Monte Cristo Cigar Lounge.
Lovely.
Which I'd been to before at Caesar's Palace. And I know that they have a back area. So I had suggested, let's go to the back room. It's not exclusive.
Yep.
Usually people don't travel that far, and it's quieter, and you can probably get a table or seating. So walked there, go into the back room. The back room does have its own bar, and it wasn't crowded there. And two people sitting at the bar by themselves, nobody was around them, enjoying a scotch and a cigar, was none other than Paul Feig, director Paul Feig, and Henry Golden. And I nudged Scott and said, look who's at the bar. And I said, I'm going to go say hi. He's like, what? I said, yeah, what else am I going to get the opportunity? Because they weren't swarmed by studio people, publicists. They were just enjoying themselves. So I just took the opportunity to be a fan for a moment and say, hey, I'm a really big fan of your work. I love The Simple Favor, which I kept on messing up the title.
Everyone does. Simple Truth. Yeah, I know.
And then Henry Golden had this amazing conversation. All in all, we had about a half-hour conversation. They ended up coming over to our table that we ended up sitting down. I bought them their next round of drinks. They came over, had an amazing conversation. Can I tell you, Henry Golden is a really down-to-earth, so approachable, and he loves the conversation of movies, as does Paul Feig. And it was great, and they were so kind and generous with their time and it had great conversation about Netflix, the movie-going experience, what CinemaCon is all about. And apparently, the following evening, there was some award ceremony. Henry Golden won an award. I was out with a colleague at another cigar lounge, and I was telling him the story about how we met. And he started laughing at me, and I was like, what's so funny? He goes, I just came from the award ceremony where Henry Golden won an award, And he said he was at a cigar lounge the other night, and these guys approached him who were in the industry, and it was so great to talk because they love the movies and the movie-going experience, and we had this great conversation. He goes, he was talking about you, and I'm like, that's really kind and funny. Throughout the rest of that week, I ended up bumping into Paul Feig like about a half a dozen times.
Yeah.
They were just so nice, so gracious with their time, and so down to earth. There's nothing pretentious about them.
Yeah.
They enjoy being part of the conversation.
They really appreciate it.
So much so.
Paul is a great guy. I've been very, very lucky to have quite a lot of contact and interview Paul a number of times over the last couple of years, and some of his movies are great. I mean, Simple last year was a tremendous movie that didn't get enough love. Spy, I think, is underappreciated as a comedy. Bridesmaids is a bona fide classic. The Heat is a great movie. Yeah. Seriously, Paul's work, I think, is, it does well, but I don't think a lot of people appreciate the skill that he puts into a lot of stuff. I mean, people have their issues with Ghostbusters, but I still don't. I think that gets a bum rap. But he seriously is a very, very skilled master of sort of cinema. He's really got a flair for this dark comedy. Yeah, and he is genuinely a really nice guy.
It's so nice.
I'm still waiting for him. He promised me that one day he would put the phrase "spunk trumpet" into a movie. Paul, I'm still waiting for that. By the way, just want to say.
And Henry Golden, we had this conversation because he's going to be in a movie called The Gentleman, which is another Guy Ritchie film. So we saw footage from that. Again, he's in all of these different roles, and he's in this Last Christmas movie that Paul Feig
doing.
Golden is really on fire right now.
Incredible.
He's really on fire.
Incredibly on fire, and that's how this Netflix conversation started. And because
I brought up the fact that Crazy Rich Asians was supposed to go to Netflix originally.
Yes, it was,
and then that's
how it happened. And he talked about how they were given an unbelievable amount of money.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, my point of it was, but I go, you would have released on Netflix, would we still be talking about Crazy Rich Asians today?
Yeah.
A year after its release and its global box office that it's done? The answer is no. Yeah. We wouldn't. You took the chance. I believe it's Warner Brothers took the chance, released it theatrically. Look what it did for the Asian community, but look what it did for movie-going audiences, and look what it did for careers, everybody's career.
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes, you're so right. So, it was one of those moments that it's happened so rare, and I just took this chance, and I ended up meeting two great people. And for me, I'll never forget, but they see so many people in their lifetime, but for me, it's a great memory.
And it's great to be able to talk to these people about, share your passion and obviously, get their insight as well, because we often talk about it from a speculative point of view, and this side of the industry. It's really great to get that stuff as well. Yeah. Great guys. But can I also say, sometimes when you're out and you see people and the directors or their producers or their actors, they just want to do their own thing.
I will share one real quick story. So about a year or so ago, my wife Ashley and I were sitting at Patty's in Studio City, I think it is, and Haley Steinfeld came in to have breakfast with one of her friends, Bailey Madison, and we saw them, and they literally sat right directly across. And I just interviewed her a couple of days prior for, I think it was Edge of 17. So this might be more than a year. And I said to myself, I really want to go over, and I said, you know what? No, they're here at lunch. They're just relaxing. Yeah. Let them do that. And you have to know your place.
You do.
Because in a cigar lounge where everyone's kind of talking and chatting, it's a different environment than when someone's sitting down and they're just going out to eat with a friend.
And it was during CinemaCon.
Right.
So, again, when am I going to have the opportunity? I didn't expect the conversation to go more than 5 minutes, to be quite honest. I just wanted to say my piece, sit down, and it just ended up being much longer because they were truly into it.
And that's great, but sometimes people don't want to be. So if you if you ever come across somebody and they're very nice and they're like, hello, thank you so much, just know when to leave.
Right.
Judge the room and know when to leave, because these people all do deserve their privacy as well. Some people take it better than others. They do not owe us anything.
Right.
So read the room, read it carefully. Okay, we're going to get to the week's big movies in just a second. I want to talk $6 Billion Man. That movie is back on. It got sort of delayed for a while. Mark Wahlberg's obviously, I believe, still attached to that movie. It's going to be the Bumblebee director, Travis Knight, who's going to be taking that on. Yeah. Previously, I would have gone interesting choice, but off the back of Bumblebee, I'm really pleased with this.
Me too.
Really looking forward to this. A very capable hand. Scott, your thoughts on this?
I have new respect for Mark Wahlberg after Instant Family. So now
Yeah.
I'll give him a pass. I'll see how he does. Plus
Yeah.
Travis Knight is amazing, so I'm down for it.
I can't wait. I've been a fan of the $6 Million Man since it was on TV.
I remember
Steve
it too.
Austin,
Yeah.
a man barely alive. I think it's ripe for a cinematic revival. I don't know how they're going to do it. I hope that they more follow, say, the first season where there was the science fiction element of Steve Austin is basically an indentured servant.
Yeah.
Like he's brought back to life. He's given these bionics so he can live. And because of it, it's like, okay, but now you're a government agent. And so the first few episodes of a $6 Million Man were, who am I?
Yeah.
Like, and why, like these guys, I didn't ask them to save me, but now I've got to work for these people. I hope it goes that route because it could be really good science fiction and great action adventure.
Well, I'm just hoping that if he claims to be the $6 billion man, he's got his taxes to show to prove it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge set to punch up the Bond 25 script. Very good news this week. Very good news. I loved her in Solo. If you haven't seen Fleabag, check out Fleabag. Seriously, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is one of the, and it's not, because she's a lady. She is one of the best writers. She has almost like a God-given knack for getting that tone right. Just nailing it. This is brilliant. This is an absolutely inspired choice. Seriously, this made me so happy this week.
Some positive news for this movie.
Some
I feel
positive,
like everything's been negative about this movie. So that's
and,
good.
From what I read, it was Daniel Craig who really made this happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just think it's amazing. It'll lend credence. I can't wait to see and hear now.
Yeah.
This dialogue and what she brings to characters or
It's great. And again, I think this is and we talk about this when it comes to diversity in the industry. This is a case of the right tool for the job, but also representation.
Sure.
And it's a case of she is absolutely made for this kind of thing. And I think this fits really well. Right tool for the job and inclusivity.
Yeah, and if this is the last Daniel Craig too.
Yeah, so he wants to go out with the bang.
Go up.
And if anybody's going to deliver a bang, it's going to be Waller-Bridge.
Very wise.
Okay, very quickly on trailers this week. Child's Play dropped. First full trailer for that we've seen teased. Obviously, this is Mark Hamill's voicing Chucky. This is his Chucky. Interesting. I'm actually
I'm in
on this.
I'm on board.
Yeah,
Me too.
I was
I'm
very
on board.
skeptical about this,
Yeah.
but
Me too.
I'm liking the look about this film.
Same here.
I
Yeah.
like how they updated it with the app and everything. It seems really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a iconic character that it's nice that they did something new with it. They didn't just like copy the same old film.
Yeah.
So I like that they updated it. And surprisingly, Aubrey Plaza looks pretty good in the movie
She
too.
looks great. Looks great.
Yeah.
I think this is going to do for toys what T2 did for robots. So, also we got another Dark Phoenix trailer this week. A lot of people talking about this. I'm like, it does look better.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
I
Jessica
mean, the bar
Chastain
was set
I don't
quite
know- I
low,
don't know
to
where
be
it
honest
was,
with you,
but-
with the last couple of X-Men movies and what we've seen so far. It looks
But they're
better.
always been like that. Don't you feel like it's like you have a great one and then you have a shitty one
Yeah.
and then you have a great one and a shitty one?
It sounds like the Bond series.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
Bond
it.
movies are like that.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It goes like, okay, cool, yeah. I mean, I'm going to go see it anyway, but
It was very well done trailer. That's another movie. Like I'm just gonna take it right now. To me, it looks pretty good, and I'll let the movie like fend for itself as to whether it's good or not.
John Harrison saying the reboot of Child's Play has me excited. Won't lie, Jenna James. I don't like the wannabe It Stranger Things kids. It seems that there's going to be for in Child's Play. It's fine. I mean, kids are kids. Star Drew, I'm not sure about Chucky. Maybe I will watch until it comes out on TV or a movie network. Again, I think this is the kind of movie that if you're going to see it on the big screen and do it with an audience.
Horror movies, you need to see
You
with an
have
audience.
to see it in a big.
Talking of horror movies.
Yeah.
This week is a big one. I think you just, as you say, you have to see this in there.
Yes.
Okay, big movies this week.
X-Men.
Breakthrough. Did anybody see that?
No.
I have
No.
not.
Okay.
No.
Surprised it has decent reviews, though.
Yeah, I'm very surprised about that. Under the Silver Lake sneaking out this week like a cheeky fart.
This has been pushed back like
back so many times.
So many times,
Yeah.
almost like 3 or 4 times.
I know people are going to seek it out, but you're going to have to look quite hard for that. Little Woods, seeing quite a little bit of stuff around that, but I didn't get to see that.
I didn't
this
see
week.
it. It's Tessa Thompson. There, Joelle Monique did an interview with Tessa and Nina DaCosta.
Right.
It's on We Live Entertainment for this movie. She loved the movie.
So go to weliveentertainment.com to check that out. Big movie of the week this week is The Curse of Llorona. It took previews last night at 2.7 million, which is kind of fine. I mean, the first Annabelle did 2.1 in previews, 2.3 million for Pet Sematary a couple of weeks ago. So we're looking at approximately an opening weekend. I think it's going to do about 20 to 25, but Box Office Mojo was saying about 17. Looking at the opening weekends for the Conjuring movies and the Conjuring spin-offs, the lowest has been in the 30 mark. So I'm kind of expecting this to be maybe as high as that, but probably around the 21 to 25. Your thoughts on that, guys, very quickly before we talk about the movie itself.
Well, we're in an interesting weekend. Had this not been the weekend that it is, I'd say I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
However, historically, Easter weekend, you lose a lot of box office on Easter or Saturday night and Easter Sunday. It's the Easter Sunday isn't Christmas Day for going to the movies. The other thing that we're having is today is not only Good Friday, but it's Passover.
Yeah, it is.
So that's going to keep a lot of, depending on how religious you are, what your beliefs are in, a lot of people may not be going to the movies tonight. So I can understand the Thursday night 2.5. I get that. I think that the 17 to 20 to me seems fair. A lot of kids are off of school, but again, it's a very high holy holiday for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Saturday night's gross usually comes down, and Sunday remains relatively flat.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to find out because we'll talk about the movie in a little bit, but
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it now, actually, because we've only got a couple of minutes now left on the show. So The Curse of La Llorona, we all got to see this week.
I did not
You
see
did not
it.
get to see it. Some terrible reviews came out of this when it was South by Southwest. Some really damning reviews, which I was very disappointed with. I found the Conjuring universe to be a little bit hit and miss. I really didn't like Annabelle. The Nun, I was not a big fan of. Had a couple of good scares in there, but overall I thought it was a very weak entry. Annabelle Creation I really liked. But for me, in the table of kind of the Conjuring movies, this is above Annabelle. Annabelle's at the bottom. And then it was The Nun. And then I would say Conjuring 2 and then this. So this is kind of mid-table for me in the Conjuring universe. Better than I thought it was going to be. It had a couple of really decent scares in there. I mean, obviously, this is based on a Latinx folklore. This is not a documentary, so this is not going to be a deep exploration of the folklore of this thing that parents use to scare children. This is not that kind of movie. This is a Hollywood going, that's a good idea, let's make it something we can sell. And so it was effective. Watching it in the movie theatre, you were at the same screening as me,
Yes.
Dimitri. There were people who were genuinely like hands over eyes, proper jumping and screaming, which I haven't seen in a lot of horror movies. So I think it was quite interesting. Some good performances. I think the script was a little bit patchy, a little bit repetitive, but there were moments where it really shone. A couple of in-jokes that I thought were really good. And the scares were really effective, and that's really what you want if you're going to go and see a movie that is like this, which is a ghost story.
Right.
Dimitri, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat agree with you. I think that the scares work because of direction and cinematography. The director did a really fine job.
Yeah.
There was some great misdirects.
Yeah.
That led to some really clever, great earned jump scares. That to me is where this movie is the most fun. It's set back by kind of a dopey script at times where characters say, or they don't say, things where under the circumstances, by all means, they would be saying the right thing, and they're not going in the right place. That to me was somewhat forgiven because of the way this movie looked. Look, the budget on this film, if it's over 10, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
It looked great.
It looked really
It was
good.
without being flashy or pretentious. And it had a good look to it, a good feel, and those jump scares you were talking about were very well earned. I thought it worked. I would put it, it's a fun horror movie. It's very fun.
But it had the jump scares, but it also maintains an air of tension, which so many movies don't. It's like, boom, scare, then it's a drop. Boom, scare, then it's a drop. It maintained that air of tension throughout some really dramatic moments.
And it had some decent humor too, which let the air
well-placed, well-handled.
Well-placed, which let some of the air out of that tension when needed to be. Some good characters. It was really great to see Linda Cardellini, and then I just can't get la 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 Llorona.
Yeah, and the kids didn't annoy me.
No,
the kids didn't annoy me, which is great.
The kids were good. As most everybody was good, but they were stuck saying some things that were just dopey, or doing things that just were dopey, and it could have fallen into cliche, but I think direction and cinematography is what really saved this
While
movie.
using tropes, it didn't fall into cliches, and sometimes that's a very difficult line to do. So to be honest with you, I was it's one of the more solid entries
I think so.
And obviously the guy who directed this has now gone on to do another in the series, which gives me hope. And also a writer was announced this week for The Nun 2. She's had great heritage in writing a lot of sort of fan-focused shows with some really interesting sort of fancy IPs. So, I think we're going to see, with The Nun, we're going to see, like we saw with Annabelle, where the sequel or prequel is better than the other one.
Yeah. I agree.
So, A Curse of La Llorona, I would definitely say is something you should do.
The
very
other thing, too, we can't forget, too, is that the Latin American audience, this is a well-known folklore. My wife told me about this. And so, in behalf of her, I had this curiosity, but I think the Latin American audience will really gravitate towards this as well.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. As I say, it's not a documentary, but talking of documentaries, there is a documentary out this week called Hail Satan, which I got to see a couple of weeks ago. It's about basically, I know we've got to wrap, so I'm aware of it. We don't have, unfortunately, we're running out of time. It's basically a look at Satanists, a satanic temple in the US in this modern age, and what it means to be a Satanist now. After the kind of the imagery that we've been presented with previously. Talk to the head of the satanic temple. It really is a really fascinating documentary. This is not a documentary about traditional Satanism. It is not a thing that is a tool for converting to Satanism. The things that are, you've seen this as well.
I did, yes.
The things that are said in this and the points that they make, it's absolutely fascinating. Even if you were like, I won't touch it because it's to do with the devil.
Oh, I agree.
Scott.
I mean, it's like, just listening to some of the speeches and that they go on. I mean, like the idea of having the 10 Commandments and then wanting their monument right next to it. I thought that was fascinating. The whole point that they're sticking up for the people who don't agree with the side. I just thought it was really oddly fascinating. I watched it last night. And it was, I couldn't believe how into it I was.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be surprised. And I saw it at an industry event, actually organised by KCRW, the station, NPR station here in LA. And there were a lot of Satanists in the room, and I got to chat to them afterwards. And it really will adjust your viewpoint on what it means to be a Satanist in 2019 and this thing. It's really fascinating, and it goes into a lot of American social history with the whole thing about the "In God We Trust" and why that is now part of a doctrine here in the US. Scott?
How about that? The thing was fascinating about the 10 Commandments movie with Paramount with the stones.
Let's not spoil that, because seriously, everybody was like, "What?" Seriously, Hail Satan is getting a limited release in major cities at the moment. It's going to be on streaming services very soon, I assume. If you get a chance to seriously, do check this movie out. It is really, really worth. It's one of the most interesting documentaries I've seen. I've spoken to the director and I've spoken to Lucian. I'm going to be putting a piece up on Forbes over the weekend. Cool. It's really, really interesting. Nice. Seriously, it absolutely blew my mind. Guys, thank you so much. We've run out of time again. Dimitri, first of all, who are you? Where can we find you?
Dimitri Panos right here on Meet the Movie Press at dmovies1701, and then on Anatomy of a Movie sometime real soon. It's great to be back. Thank you for having me. It's great to be in this show.
Sure. Scott Menzel. You can find me at WeLiveEntertainment.com, Twitter, Instagram, The Other Scott M. Thank you.
My name is Simon Thompson. You can find me at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for taking part in the show. Thank you for watching. One final comment in the chat from Jenna James. I am Catholic. I am open to watching stuff, and I'm Gucci on watching that. Seriously, Jenna, you will not regret it. Even if you don't agree with it, you you will appreciate some of the viewpoints in there. Have a great, whatever you're celebrating, whether it's Easter, whether it's Passover, whether it's nothing at all. You have a great weekend. Really appreciate it.
Have a good weekend.
Any Friday on Meet the Movie Press is a good Friday. Take care,
Producers
everybody.
Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network. We would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.